Hello, everyone. Megan McCann here, and I'm thrilled to have this beautiful lady with us for the next 10 minutes. She is a speaker. She's former Miss United States, and now she travels the world coaching people on the psychology of happiness. We have with us Rachael Todd. Hello.
Hi, Megan.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well. Just enjoying being able to pause with you during the madness of the holidays because we are recording right in the middle of it, which is great. Awesome.
It's so nice to have that. I know I've been like, go, go, go. And I told you like 2 seconds ago that I've been making mistakes and calling people by the wrong name and just so fast paced. But it's so nice to slow down and be present and to share our message. And I'm so excited to hear what your message is because I know that in interviewing you and first meeting you, that you had just such a wonderful story of how you became Miss United States, and then that really being kind of the beginning of your journey in impacting women all over the world. So I would love for you to share with us, how that whole journey evolved, and really, how you went from becoming Miss United States to all of a sudden traveling the world and empowering women.
It's sort of, it was almost like reverse engineered, I would say. I come
I
from
love that word, by the way. That's one of my favorite phrases.
It's awesome. I love working backwards. Because it's like manifesting. Like you just say what you know, what you want to have happen, and you're like, okay, great. So we know it's going to happen. Now we just have to figure out how we're going to get there.
Yeah.
I grew up in a really small town like near Disney, but it's called Oviedo. And
Okay.
actually where the University of Central Florida exists. Go Knights. And I discovered pageantry when I was getting ready to finish college. But if you rewind a little bit further back, I was terribly made fun of when I was younger. I was in like the gifted program, this like advanced program, which I called social like death. And you were in like an isolated area all through high school, middle school, everything. And they just called us the weird kids. And inside of the weird kids school, I didn't even have any friends in there. So anyway, that was my identity. I didn't belong. I never had a date to any school dance or anything like that. And so that was who I thought that I had to be my whole life. And then in college, I discovered pageantry, and I just wanted to win scholarship money. But what that led to was going on to compete for Miss Florida right after college, winning Miss Florida, and then having my first job right out of college at the age of 22, touring, speaking, hosting, lobbying, forming partnerships with organizations, figuring out how to create partnerships where maybe there wasn't a relationship before, just all sorts of skills that you may not have walked out of college with that I had to step into, which was just an incredible experience in of itself.
Yeah.
Then what led me to where I am today is that I spent the next 7 years after completing my term as Miss Florida asking the question, how do I teach every woman on this earth how to feel and exude and step into the power that I was just given by being Miss Florida? And I didn't have it all figured out. And I certainly have evolved that message, and that curriculum has changed many times over the last, gosh, it's been 10 years since I won Miss Florida. It's just that I knew that my mission on this earth was to show other women how to get from point A to point B faster than it took me, and to be able to do that because they can serve their mission in a bigger way. So that led to studying yoga and meditation. And then I went through a positive psychology course, and then integrative health. And now having won Miss United States last year sort of was like it was almost as if it was proving to myself that everything I had gone through and studied and prepared was going to work, because I stated that I was going to become Miss United States. I decided that I wanted to go after another national title after walking away unvictorious, is that a word, from Miss America.
We can create words as much as we want here.
Okay, in that case, I found out a new one yesterday. Manifestival. We're having a manifestival.
Oh my God. Yes. Yeah. And let's create one. Mm-hmm.
Cool, right? So yeah, it was just, It was a very, a lot of my family was like, are you on a personal vendetta to prove to people that you can win a national title? And I was like, that's probably part of it. But also like, I want to show others that when you state that you're going to like do something, that you start speaking it out loud. Mm-hmm. And then like we talked about at the beginning of the interview, I reverse engineered to get to Miss United States.
Right.
Now, that's not the pinnacle of my life. And I don't view that as like the best thing you can accomplish by any means. But it has certainly helped, and it has helped to bring more attention to my message and enabled me to go further and reach even more women and different parts of the world that I didn't. I got a message from somebody from Australia yesterday, and I woke up to it, which meant that she was reading my stuff yesterday while I was sleeping.
Oh, I love that.
It's really cool.
That's amazing. And I love your story, because I think sometimes we look at, pageantry. I'm clueless. I'm just going to be totally real with you. I don't know anything about that world. However, I can see how, sometimes we look at all these women and we think that they have these perfect lives and these perfect stories. And with your story that, you grew up and you were, quote unquote gifted kid, and you had a hard time making friends, were made fun of, and that really being, part of your story that propelled you to want more out of life, and to have your manifestival and to go for big goals, is using that contrast as an opportunity to learn lessons and overcome those struggles. And that, again, is a common theme that I'm seeing with all of these women that we're interviewing, is they all have, nobody just woke up one day and was like, I'm going to change the world. My life has been perfect, and people are going to be perfect like me, because nobody can relate to that. Right. But I just want to acknowledge you for sharing that, because I know sometimes it can be hard to talk. You probably talked about it so many times that it's easier now, but it probably was really hard to go through. And I know for me, with my past challenges, there are still things that come up. I'm like, oh, I thought I was over that. You know what I mean? But you keep using that to fuel and reverse engineer, manifest your goals so that you can create more and be more. So thank you.
I love that you brought that up, because it is, I hadn't thought about that in a while, but yeah, talking about the way that you might have, that you used to think about yourself, or the way that the thoughts that you used to have about who you were, or who you had to be, or who you are when you enter a room, has definitely changed. And being able to tell that story, in positive psychology, we talk a lot about writing your narrative and rewriting the narrative and telling the story of your life, and watching how it self-edits, how it changes, and talking about how to create the best possible future is to write how you want yourself to look in the future. And that story changes over time. But it's true. Like I probably, if you went back to when I first won Miss Florida, I would not have been able to recognize what had truly happened. My dad had left. I was already had very low self-esteem. And then this man that I looked up to my whole life just shattered my family's world. And that was sort of the fuel that led me to Miss Florida, because I viewed it as I didn't have another choice. I could have gone out and gotten a 9-to-5 and started at an entry-level position, but I just felt like I was supposed to go out and speak. I was supposed to stand up for others. I was supposed to involve myself in different social issues in the world. And back then it might have been a way of numbing myself to what was happening in my family, or I needed to prove myself. I'm not really sure why, but that resiliency, that needing to overcome or fight for something that was bigger than what I was given as a life, right, is what drove me to push further, to learn, to ignore what you could step into, which is like a life of Netflix binging and going out time and complacency. And there's nothing wrong with relaxation and self-care. We can talk about that all day. But I've realized that from the age of 22 on, I've missed, I don't want to say I missed out, but I look at the relationships that were formed between people that I went to college with, and the way that they started sort of bonding, and where they lived, and the way that they sort of just planted themselves. Whereas I went like everywhere. I was living in a car, traveling and hosting and doing all these things that a lot of people don't get the chance to do. So my mission is to be able to share that, to be able to impart that knowledge, that feeling, that ability that anybody can achieve that, to every woman that I meet. So that's been the mission that I've been on for 10 years now.
And we're so aligned because, and I love that you brought that up, because that is the mission of Soul Success is, we elevate, we thrive when we lock arms and we rise together. Your mission in, teaching all of these women and traveling and speaking and kind of living outside of the box, that we give women permission to do that. And you don't need to do it alone. Like, there are so many women out there who understand that they are meant for more and they want to bring people up. And that, again, is the women of Soul Success. And that is you. So thank you so much, Rachael. I'm so excited to hear more about your story in Santa Barbara.
Thank you.
And to give you a hug in person.
It's going to be fun.
Yes. So if you would like to follow Rachael to Santa Barbara, you can enter her affiliate code, in which you get $100 off your ticket. Once you visit thesoulsuccesssummit.com, you enter Rachael Todd, and it's RachaelTodd, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Didn't screw that one up. Rachael Todd at checkout, you get $100 off your ticket. And it's just going to be amazing. We're going to be enjoying yoga, meditation, mindset, mastermind, healthy food. We have a photographer on site. I mean, we have the whole shebang, and it's just steps from the beach. So we would love to have you guys there. For more info, you can visit the website. And Rachael, if people want to reach out to you directly, where can they find you?
On every social media platform, I'm at at the Rachael Todd,
Awesome.
RaChael.
And would you mind sharing your website?
Yeah, of course. RachaelTodd.com.
Awesome. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Rachael. And I'll see you in a few months.
Okay, Megan. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Bye-bye.